Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving straight into the latest and honestly the most critical developments happening right now in the American artificial intelligence sector. If you've been paying any attention to the news lately, you already know that the momentum in this industry isn't just fast, it is absolutely unprecedented. But with breakneck speed comes a really complex landscape. So we're going to break down the current state of play today. We'll cover everything from the massive physical infrastructure being built right under our noses to the software that's about to hit your smartphones, all the way to the growing alarm bells being rung by the exact same people building these systems. So let's just dive right into this. The entire AI landscape today is defined by one core conflict. On one side, we have this rapid tech development. Companies are pushing the boundaries of what is possible on a literal daily basis. But then, on the other side, we have these growing concerns. We're seeing an absolute clash between the sheer speed of AI innovation and the lagging regulations and ethical fears that are frantically trying to catch up from behind. Today, we are going to explore how both of these realities are existing at the exact same time and why it's fundamentally reshaping the tech industry as we know it. Okay, let's jump into Section 1, AI's New Direction, focusing on hardware and silicon innovations. To really understand where the industry is heading, we have to look at the physical foundations that make this crazy growth possible. Google isn't just sitting around relying on existing hardware anymore. Actually, they're actively developing their own next-generation AI chip, which goes by the codename Icefish. And to make this a reality, reports are indicating they're in strategic discussions with Samsung to manufacture parts of these incredibly complex chips. This is a perfect example of how the AI race isn't just about who writes the best code anymore. It's a massive manufacturing race. Ultimately, whoever builds the fastest, most efficient brain for these AI models is going to hold a massive advantage. Moving right along to Section 2, Google's massive investment and building the infrastructure. Now, a super powerful chip like Icefish doesn't just sit on someone's desk, right? It requires an absolutely massive physical environment to operate. And that brings us to the sheer scale of the money moving around right now. Google has just launched a sweeping $50 million initiative dedicated entirely to AI infrastructure, right here in the United States. When we talk about AI, we so often think of the cloud as this invisible, floating thing. But the reality, the cloud is made of massive, energy-hungry physical data centers. This $50 million program is specifically designed to meet the surging, almost insatiable demand for the physical spaces and the servers where AI actually lives and breathes. And let's connect those dollars to the real-world human impact. That $50 million isn't just buying concrete and steel, it's buying skills. Google's program is aiming to train over 300,000 skilled workers in the US. Really think about that number for a second. 300,000 people. That's the population of a mid-sized city. These are the workers who are going to be building, maintaining, and managing the AI data centers of tomorrow. It brilliantly illustrates how this AI boom is actively trying to create a massive new blue-collar and technical workforce, basically just to keep the infrastructure from collapsing under its own weight. Next up is Section 3, Apple's new AI and software advancements at WWDC 2026. So we've got the hardware, we've got the data centers, but how does all of this actually reach you, the consumer? Well, Apple recently launched a highly anticipated AI-powered overhaul of Siri, and it leverages all that computing power in three really key ways. First off, the new Siri understands screen context. That means it actually knows what you're currently looking at on your phone and can take actions based on it, which is huge. Second, it's capable of vastly better, much more natural conversations, so no more of those rigid robotic commands. And third, it's deeply integrated with their broader Apple Intelligence framework. The big takeaway here is that AI is no longer just some separate chatbot you have to open a specific app for. It's becoming the actual fabric of how we interact with our devices every single day. Which brings us to Section 4. Tech giants' concerns. The irony of rapid expansion. Here is where our explainer takes a really critical turn. We've seen the billions in investment, sure, but now we have to look at a striking contradiction right at the heart of the industry. Major players, we're talking companies like OpenAI and Anthropic, are openly warning the public and governments that AI technology is advancing way too fast and completely lacks regulation. Yet, despite these explicit warnings, these exact same companies are relentlessly releasing new, ever more powerful models. Now, we aren't here to take a side at all, but it is absolutely vital to point out this incredible paradox. It's like they're sounding the alarm about the speed of a runaway train while simultaneously shoveling more and more coal right into the engine.
And this rapid kind of contradictory momentum isn't just scaring the regulators, it's having a profound psychological effect on the public, particularly younger generations. For example, Microsoft has officially had to respond to Generation Z's growing anxieties regarding the rapid rise of AI. When the younger demographic, the very people who are historically supposed to be the most eager early adopters of new tech, starts showing deep, deep anxiety about their jobs, their privacy, and their future because of this technology, well, the industry is pretty much forced to pause and listen.
In fact, Microsoft President Brad Smith explicitly addressed these youth anxieties, and he literally called them a wake-up call for the tech industry. He firmly stated that companies absolutely must take the concerns of the public seriously. I think this brilliantly illustrates that the AI race is no longer just a technical challenge, it is fundamentally a public relations and societal trust challenge. When the president of one of the largest tech companies in the world calls the public's fear a wake-up call, it proves that the human element of this massive technological leap just cannot be ignored. And finally, Section 5, the road ahead, balancing innovation and safety. So, what does this all mean? Where does this leave us? We've seen the cutting-edge hardware innovations, the massive physical infrastructure investments, and those big consumer software leaps. But we've also seen the glaring paradox of tech leaders warning us about the very tools they are releasing into the wild. So the big question is, how can society balance this seemingly unstoppable technological race with the stark warnings coming from the very companies leading it? As we've explored today, the momentum of the American AI sector is breathtaking. It's pulling in hundreds of thousands of workers and billions of dollars. But innovation without safeguards is exactly what Gen Z is anxious about and what tech CEOs are actively warning us against. As you watch the news unfold in the coming months, keep this dynamic in the back of your mind. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and stay curious out there.